Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha the God, and I want to talk about One Piece and a little bit power scaling, but I kind of want to talk about why Luffy doesn't have to be the strongest pirate ever, and that's not his goal either, right? I know a lot of people are like, Luffy will be the strongest pirate ever because shonens usually, Naruto became the strongest ninja ever, etc., etc., and that's kind of like what people like expect, right? Um, and Asta is probably gonna become the strongest Wizard King ever, etc., etc. Um, Now One Piece is already slightly different than regular shonens for several reasons. Um, our protagonist isn't like a goody two shoes. He is, but he isn't. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, right? Because he would punch Vivi. You know what I'm saying? And then simultaneously he will die for her type shit. You know what I mean? So he's a bit on contraire. He just wants to be free. This is important here because One Piece is all about freedom, right? It's always been about freedom, right? That's why the dawn of freedom, I think, is basically what the story is about, right? And Luffy wants to be the freest of them all, and he wants everybody around him in his crew to be free just like him. That's why he wants them to follow him for freedom, so that then they can all pursue their dreams freely. Because currently, if you're a pirate, you can't be free because the Marines are after. If you're a Marine, you can't really be free because pirates might attack you. Da 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 da. Like, nobody's really free. And obviously the Celestial Dragons are like the most anti-free people there is. And that's why they're his natural final-ish enemy. Right? And then the beautiful thing about One Piece as well is you got Blackbeard. Right? And then the question is, will Blackbeard be the final villain, or will it be the Celestial Dragons? Will be the the planets, the what's it, the 9 planets, however many planets, 6 planets, those guys, the Gorosei or whatever, them dudes, will it be them? Will it be Emu? You know what I'm saying? I actually think it'd be Blackbeard. And I'll explain why Blackbeard I think will be the final villain and not Emu. Emu, let's say, is the killer of dreams, right? Which is kind of the speculation because Luffy's devil fruit is about a dreamer. You know what I'm saying? The human fruit, the normal fruit, right? And it's about a human basically dreaming, right? And that's why he can like kind of manipulate things. That's why he pulled lightning from the sky. He can do different things. He even made Kaido into like a misshapen blob or whatever. He can do weird things like that if he dreams hard enough, if he believes it strong enough, right? And Emu is more than likely going to be the killer of dreams, all right? And she can erase dreams, So if you remember when they fought in the Thriller arc, and Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, all of them, when they got hit by what's her name, ability that gives you like bad thoughts and shit like that, and that your dreams aren't going to come true, all of that shit, that things are going to go wrong, they all crippled. The only person that did not cripple was Usopp, because the merry-go, is it the merry, the first ship, man, it's been a minute, the first ship was the only thing that would have depressed Usopp, but that it was already taken, it was gone. So by the time he reaches Thriller Bark, he's already out of hopes, and he's already pessimistic as all the time anyway, right? And the ship was the only thing that tethered him, because the girl I think that he's gonna end up with is the one that gave them that ship, right? And I think that's the beauty of it here, because he's not the same as Luffy and Zoro and Sanji. They're all fearless, they're willing to die and do whatever it takes for everybody. Usopp isn't. Like, he is, but he isn't. He'll do it, but he's afraid to do it, and that's what makes him the bravest member of the Straw Hats. But you might be thinking, how Zoro, Luffy, Sanji, they just pull up fearless. Exactly, they're fearless, so they're not brave. You're not brave if you're fearless. You're already unafraid. There's nothing. You're not braving anything, right? If I'm not afraid of heights and I climb a tower, I'm not like, there's no bravery there. If I'm not afraid of speed and I'm in a fast car, there's no bravery there. If I'm not afraid of heights and jump off and parachute or whatever, or skydive, there's no bravery there. But if I'm freaking petrified of it and still do it, that's bravery. And that's what makes Usopp probably the bravest character in the whole series, because he's the most afraid, but he's also the most willing to do shit when push comes to shove. You know what I'm saying? He will do the action eventually. Even though he's shaking his boots, crying, dying, all of that, he'll still push forward most of the time. And that's why he's the bravest. That's why he's brave Usopp. Now, this is important because if you look at these characters, they all have these tailor made things about them. If you look at Blackbeard, for example, right? Blackbeard, I think he doesn't even dream, right? They say he doesn't sleep, right? Because apparently he might be three people in one. We don't know how, but he apparently maybe three personalities, whatever, schizophrenic. I don't know. He got some shit that he has three personalities, or he's three people in one. So he doesn't sleep. So I think he just switches every 8 hours. So he never needs sleep. So I think because of that, that's probably why he's hacky, and his powers are probably way better than people think. He's pretty reckless, but I think it depends on who's in charge. And I think most of the time, the Blackbeard that we know is the one in charge. And I think Emu removes dreams. Luffy makes dreams become reality. And our boy Blackbeard doesn't dream at all. He doesn't take nor remove dreams. You know what I'm saying? But he also believes as much as Luffy. You know what I'm saying? But his belief takes casualties and damages and does things that Luffy's against. Right? Emu's the complete extreme opposite. Blackbeard is like the in-between. So I think because I think him reaching the One Piece will be the final thing. Not him defeating Emu. You know what I'm saying? It could be the other way around, but this is, I suppose, my headcanon, just narratively thinking of it. Both work, to be quite honest with you, but I'm just thinking of how Oda writes, and having read One Piece, I think he's more than likely, because that's why Emu's been introduced, right? I think they'd been introduced now. I think it's probably her. I think she's been introduced now because I think she'll be the next main opponent. Because if you think about it, she hasn't been built up nearly as much as Blackbeard. Blackbeard has been around since way, way, way back, since before Skypedia. You know what I'm saying? So that fight has way more build up than Emu. It's not gonna be a Kaguya thing where Kaguya just pulls up out of nowhere and does stuff. I think even Blackbeard might go against Emu as well. You know what I'm saying? I think Emu will be defeated in a more interesting way. He might even be Sabo dude. He might even be the Revolutionaries dude. I think she obviously matters because she's anti-dream, so Luffy's more than likely going to be the one to defeat her because he's dreams. He's Mr. Dream and be free. She's Mrs. Fuck dreams and fuck freedom. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's kind of the scope of it. I think that's the beauty of One Piece in a way, where it's open, where you're not really 100% certain what's going to happen. But we know that Luffy is more than likely going to defeat her because Luffy has pretty much defeated every major threat thus far, right? Apart from Big Mom. But again, there were people that he allied with that defeated her. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to experience. And I think Blackbeard will be the final villain because I think the absence of dreams in a way is more extreme than a person removing dreams. You know what I'm saying? And if you think about it, Luffy's the sun, right? And Emu might be the moon or might be some other shit, but she's not the dark. The dark, which is the true opposite, is Blackbeard. And he's probably a false D, which is alleged. Everybody thinks he's probably a false D. So I think it just makes more narrative sense that the dark versus the sun is the final battle first, and I think the dark and the sun, and then which is kind of, or maybe it might be a battle that happens simultaneously because, Emu is the anti-dream. You know what I'm saying? So that is definitely somebody Luffy has to defeat or, has to overcome. But what do you guys think? I think Blackbeard would probably be the final villain because of that. I just think that he's been built up way more than Emu. And like Emu, I mean, you can kind of almost guess that maybe there was something like that. But I mean, Emu matters because she affects the whole One Piece world. But I think Blackbeard is the one shaking it up. You know what I'm saying? Blackbeard is like Luffy, right? And I think that the One Piece story is about the worst generation, and Blackbeard is a part of the worst generation, which is weird considering that he's been there since way before. But it's all about when you set sail. It's all about when you start the journey, when you reach, you know, when you it's when you start your journey versus, as a pirate king or as a leader of a pirate crew versus how long you've been a pirate member, right? It's the same way Shanks became the Shanks we know when Shanks became the leader of his own crew, not when he was in the Blackbeard Pirates, because then, or not Blackbeard, in the Goldie Roger Pirates, because that was Goldie Roger's team, so people just cared about Goldie Roger. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's something to keep in mind. I just think that the dark versus the sun probably supersedes dreams versus no dreams, freedom versus no freedom, because I think it's too clear cut that that's the finale. But I think there's more nuance in no dreams versus dreams, dark versus light, and both of them having the same mentality and belief that they are destined to be the Pirate King. And I think that's ultimately the end finale, right? It's like Naruto wanted to save Sasuke, but ultimately the end goal was to be Hokage. And saving Sasuke was a part of the journey. Stopping Imu is a part of the journey, right? Stopping Blackbeard is achieving the goal. Because I think, Shanks and them, I think, will all be stopped, or whatever will happen to them before he reaches the Laugh Tale. I actually think both Blackbeard and Luffy will both reach Laugh Tale at simultaneous times. I think even the guild, the cross guild, I think they're gonna reach it similar times, and I think there'll be like a battle there. Maybe Shanks will even reach there at the same time as well. And I think that though it'll be like a cross battle, but I think they would have defeated the Imu and the Celestials and stuff like that, essentially, right? Not completely, but I think essentially by then. I think that's kind of the goal. And then once Luffy gets the One Piece, then he'll be able to actually achieve freedom for the world, right? At least to the best degree possible. That's my theory. That's my canon. Let me know if you think I'm wrong or right. Now listen, Admiral levels, Yonko levels, you guys already liked the video. You guys already subscribed, right? I didn't have to say it, right? You did it, right? Non-Yonko, bum ass, slummy ass, like useless ass that people that didn't even take the journey, people that didn't even join a pirate crew or join the Marines. Them bum ass dudes that stayed in the island, they the only ones that didn't like the video, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you like the video and subscribe, right? And obviously the GOAT tiers, the Pirate Kings, also left a comment. They did all three things. That's unbelievable. But listen, not everybody's on that level. I understand it's hard. It's rare breeds. We Yonko, Admiral level, Pirate King levels, we rare out here, bro. So I understand. It's been your boy Supreme G the God. I'm out.